Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman coming from my continent of Africa. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Gertrude, for this opportunity. So my full names are Ng'endo Kariuki. Most people call me Yvonne. Some people call me Ng'endo. Either or works perfectly. So I'm a luxury brand strategist based in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm Kenyan and a passionate African woman. I also am very passionate about my industry, that is branding. And I like to call myself a luxury brand strategist because I'm not just a brand strategist. I specifically focus on the luxury industry. So my expertise, I'll just give a short story about how I got here. So I have a background in design. My love for art and design started off in high school, and that was nurtured by my loving parents, my late dad and my mom. And with that, I went to the design school of Southern Africa to pursue a degree in fashion and design. And I remember the lecturer that I met there was truly, truly supportive, and really just nurtured my passion and my love for this industry. And she told me, you never know the doors that this degree and this passion will open for you. Of course, I was in my early 20s. I really didn't have a full picture of how my life would end up, but I knew that I wanted to be very rooted in the creative industry. And this is something that, has driven me even to where I am today, and even just being able to mentor future creatives in this country and the greater continent of Africa. So while I was pursuing fashion and design, I would dibble and dabble in different business ventures, none of which materialized because, again, I was young, didn't really have that full picture of, okay, this is how you run a business and so forth. So I finished off my degree and I came back to Kenya. And this is something that a lot of creatives who study in any degree in the creative field come back home, especially in any country in this continent. And face the challenge of not being placed in jobs that are fitting with the degree that they studied. So I really struggled finding my footing in Kenya, getting a job that really appreciated, what it is that I studied, really appreciated the value that I was bringing. And I remember I was very, very frustrated because I was getting storefront kind of jobs, being a manager for like retail outlets. And my passion really was to be a fashion buyer, to be able to travel overseas and come and bring good fashion stock in this country, but that didn't happen. So through that frustration, I remember one day my late dad just sat me down and he was like, Yvonne, the frustration you're going through and all the hurdles you're experiencing, not really finding your footing as a creative, as a fashion designer, what do you want your future to look like? Do not settle, and remember that we have invested in your education. If you and he told me something so profound that made me really, really frame everything, really change the direction that I was going, and to stop settling rather for the position that I was at. And he told me, if you were to pay me back, or if you were to pay me and your mother back all that we have invested in your education with your salary, would you be able to do that? And that caused me to think. I was like, definitely that would not, I would not be able to pay them back. So I think 2 weeks later, I decided, you know what, I'm passionate about this degree. I will not let the situation and the circumstances that I found myself in really stop me from pursuing a creative career. So I applied for, I was really scouting on the internet for master's programs, and I was on the internet day and night, and I knew I needed to study outside of this country because the opportunities there are much better. And something that I have always, I always knew from a young age, even when I was pursuing a degree in fashion and design, is I needed to learn all the skills to really build myself as an expert, to come back to this country and really build the industry. And so that was my thinking behind pursuing my master's abroad. So eventually, things aligned and God really opened doors for me, and I was able to go to the Rome Business School in Rome, Italy, to pursue a master's in luxury fashion and brand management. So that really, that was really the turning point in my life, because I went there. So I went there for the to enroll basically for the program. And in that season, I lost my dad. He passed away. Had to come back to Kenya and just take just a sabbatical, just to be able to grieve and really step in as the firstborn for my family and really support my mother and my sister. But at that point, of course, those of you who've lost someone, you know how that really just changes your whole life. It's like a light bulb comes on. It's like you were in slumber and now you wake up. And I remember that whole year, for the time I took the sabbatical, I just had given up. I really didn't want to go back to finish my master's, and my mom would encourage me, like, this is what your dad would want. You still need to live your life because your dad has lived his life. And something just gave me the courage, and I went back and I finished that master's. It was truly an incredible and really pivotal point in my life. I always tell people there's an Yvonne that existed pre-Italy, and there's an Yvonne that exists post-Italy. And those two people are completely different, because I grew my desire to chase my passion and to really live out my vision that's God-given really became very, very apparent to me. I became so very passionate to change the industry. Of course, I pivoted because now I was exposed to all these luxury brands in Italy. Italy's, is the motherland for the biggest luxury fashion brands, and even just luxury brands in any sector. So it really exposed me, and it got me questioning, what is the gap in this country and what is the gap in this continent? I know, for example, countries like South Africa, countries like Nigeria are very ahead, but with my country, I really question, what is the gap? What can I do to really shape the luxury space in this country? What can I do to really change brands and give them that global outlook. And so yeah, I came back to Kenya after pursuing my master's, and I'm so grateful to my alma mater, the Rome Business School. Their support, incredible. Even during the time that I lost my dad, their support was really, really, something that I will forever carry with me. And I came home, and then a year after, it was COVID, and all the confusion that came with COVID. But luckily, during that time, it also just caused me to just really think, okay, how can I really cement this vision that I have? How can I lay the foundation for this vision that I want to change, the industry in this country? And I started an agency, and this is where I'm at today.
What an incredible story. Just listening to everything you went through to get to this point, I think, and I give you my sincere condolences for the passing of your father, because I went through a very similar experience. But death has a way of waking us up to life.
Yes.
Sounds to me like it really helped you frame what you wanted, why you wanted it, and you went after it, and you achieved every single goal that you set out to achieve. So your father would be very proud of what you've managed to do.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. Thank you so much.
Incredible.
That means a lot to me.
So tell me, what inspired you to pursue a career in luxury brand strategy? And how has your personal journey shaped your approach to building distinctive brand entities?
When I did my undergraduate degree in fashion and design, I was really hell bent on pursuing a career in fashion buying. And then, even the opportunity I got at the Rome Business School was by chance. I actually had enrolled for a master's in fashion and design, fashion buying in London. And for some reason that didn't pan out. And I always thank God for how things panned out and how things worked out. So this opportunity for the Rome Business School popped up, and I remember telling my mom, this just seems too good to be true. It was an opportunity to live in Rome, to just even immerse myself in that luxury space, and see firsthand how some of these big brands like Fendi and Valentino have built their brands. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I told at that time my dad was still alive. I told my parents, you know what? There's London and there's Rome. I'm picking Rome. My instincts just told me go to Rome. So I think even it's helped me even understand, and I think the reason why I then now focus solely on the branding space is because I realized I'll always be passionate about fashion and design, but there's a reason I was put in that country and to pursue that specific master's, because I was able to see sort of the blueprint that these big brands have put in place for years. Some of these brands like Valentino have been there since the early 1900s, and it got me questioning, what is it that's lacking in this country? And I'll say this country, but I'm sure it is very present, exactly, in a lot of African countries, where you find someone setting up a brand, but not necessarily thinking, oh, this brand needs to distinguish itself from other brands in the market. It needs to have this distinct look. It needs to have this sort of timelessness, because you think of Valentino, it's a timeless brand. And when even and like I've said, pursuing that master's was just by coincidence. But as I was doing it, it really came to light why I was actually pursuing it. And I came back and I told myself, I need to change the branding space in this country. I need to redefine what luxury and luxury brands
Yes.
are in this country, in this continent, because I feel as though Africans, we have, because of everything that has happened to us in our history, we have sort of a scarcity mindset. We really need
Yes.
to break that and really just adopt an abundance mindset to say, hey, I can be the founder, like Gertrude can be the founder of a luxury brand. So that for me is,
Love it.
yes,
And what you're really doing is you're building legacies. When
exactly,
a brand can continue for centuries, it's because a
exactly,
legacy has been built. And really that is what's missing with most African businesses. So kudos to you
exactly.
for taking this on.
Thank you
So
so much.
tell me,
Yes,
luxury branding often requires balancing exclusivity with accessibility.
yes.
How do you help your clients navigate this balance effectively?
Please, even as uh, I, I try and encourage the founders that I work with to adopt, first of all, it has to be a mindset kind of thing, telling them,
Yes.
hey, abundance is yours. You can create a luxury brand that is distinct, that is exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something when it comes to accessibility and exclusivity, it's very possible. Yeah. But
Yes.
the one thing I always say, Gertrude, is, and people always laugh at me for really saying this, but I always say your brand is not for everyone, and not everyone is for your brand.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
sad or as if you want to be, it's not pride. Yeah, it's the truth of the matter. Whether you're
Yes.
looking at the big luxury brands like Valentino, or you're looking at Zara, that's much more affordable, or Shein, yeah,
Yeah.
you want to create that distinctiveness at the end of the day. Shein is, and this is not to bash Shein, but like it's for everyone. But for me, I'm really encouraging people. You can still have that exclusive brand, but ensuring that it's for a specific clientele. So
So you need to know your niche, right?
exactly. Understanding your niche, understanding why your brand is there, who it's for, so you can give value to those people. So
I love it.
that's always my approach. Yeah.
There is a 33% rule to selling anything.
Yes.
They say that 33% of people will absolutely love you. They'll love everything you stand for as a brand. 33% of people will be indifferent. They're just not interested. They're not in the market for buying whatever you're selling. And
Yes.
then you have to be prepared for the last 33% is the haters.
Exactly.
You prepared for the haters, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So,
And
what are the key elements that differentiate a luxury brand from a premium or mass market brand? And how
mhm.
do you incorporate these elements into your strategies?
When it comes to luxury brands, there are a couple of characteristics that define a luxury brand. And
Right.
let me just also just say that a luxury brand is not just specific to the fashion industry. Yeah,
Yes.
you can have a luxury brand in the automobile industry, wherever it is. Yes. So the things that make a luxury brand, and this is what I adopt in the strategies that in the strategy that I help luxury brand founders adopt in building their luxury brands, is a
Right.
luxury brand has that sense of timelessness.
Hmm.
So if you look at any luxury brand that we have, globally, I always gravitate towards Valentino, but,
Yeah.
but
The
if
good
you think of
brand.
brand, so if you think of the likes of Valentino, you think of the likes of Ferrari and all these brands. The one thing that is common amongst them is the fact that they're timeless brands. As a
Yes.
luxury brand, you need to ensure that your brand far outlives you, the founder. So, what does that mean? Even, for example, my consultancy. my consultancy needs to outlive me. So
Yes.
this will be a brand that has a solid strategy that it can still survive long after I am gone. And you find that with brands like a lot of Italian luxury brands are very centered around family. So even
Okay.
with Ferrari, it was the dad that set it up and left it for the son. And even Gucci, the famous story of the Gucci family.
Yeah.
So if you're able to set that up, and again, in this continent, tying it to legacy and heritage, if you're able to set it up in a way that it runs the test of time, so it will be here for 20 years, for 50 years, and so forth. Another aspect of luxury brands is actually incorporating sustainability in your strategy. I mean, sustainability is always seen as a clickbait kind of word, but if you really adopt sustainable practices into your brand, you're considered a luxury brand. And
Okay.
of course, the aspect of exclusivity, like I said, you can be able to ensure your brand is accessible, but remember, it's not for everyone. Just like
Yeah.
you said, and even like when you look at yourself as an individual, for example, Yvonne is not for everyone, and not
No.
everyone is for me, and that is what it is. So if you look at that aspect, you will be able to see, okay, this is what defines a luxury brand.
Yes.
And last but not least, of course, it goes without saying, you cannot just be putting a high price point in your products or services as a luxury brand, but you're
Right.
not giving value to
Yeah.
the client. It's without a doubt, you need to give value. So going above and beyond,
Yes.
like a white glove kind of service, a white glove kind of product, really handhold your clients. That in a nutshell, those are the things that make or define a luxury brand. And those are the things I ensure I incorporated in the strategies for the luxury brands that I help
Okay.
develop. Yes.
So, can you share an example of a transformative brand project that you worked on and the impact that it had on your client's business?
There's so many. For me, uh, I always say working with clients is not just okay. I've worked with Gertrude. Okay, thanks Gertrude for your business. I'm good to go. For me, it's always a hand-holding process from the start to the beginning. It is my duty to ensure that I carry you through the
Right.
entire process, from strategy to the development of your visual identity, all through to you having your website, having your podcast, anything. So there's not one client I can say that truly hasn't touched my heart, because for me, I've been incredibly blessed to encounter very remarkable um, founders, doing incredible things. So let me just summarize. The one project
Mm.
for me that really stands out is a brand called Lirisk Africa. So the
Okay.
story for Lirisk Africa is it's an insurance and wealth management agency. So
Right.
in a nutshell, Lirisk Africa is out there to protect African lives. So the founder's story is an incredible story in itself. But even being able to ensure, okay, for example, my dad passed away. How do we ensure that our lives continue long after he's gone? That's the whole mantra for Lirisk Africa. So with
Okay.
Lirisk Africa, the founder is a woman, a beautiful African woman. So
Okay.
she had already set up Lirisk Africa long before we started working on it. So she had a logo, she had everything. She had
Right.
a general business, a general, a basic brand strategy and business strategy for Lirisk Africa. And then she realized, okay, there's a way in which I want to package Lirisk Africa to really speak to a specific clientele, a clientele that really understands the importance of protecting African families.
Right.
And securing wealth and all these things. Conversations that are still very young in this continent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, she approached me and she told me, okay, Yvonne, I really need help with this. So she, for example, on Instagram, she was working with 300 followers at the time.
Right.
This was just after COVID. That was
Hey.
2021. Yes. So we really sat down and understood, okay, this is the clientele we're targeting. We're targeting husbands and wives, African husbands and African wives, husbands more so, who understand the importance of securing their wealth for their families in the case that they're no longer there. So
Yes.
we understood who our clientele is. We went through, okay, this is the kind of look and feel we need for the brand to be able to attract this specific clientele. And
Yes.
of course, we were preaching this message to the millennial millennial generation, because that's
Okay.
some of these conversations you need to sort of break down for the older generation, but in this
Yes.
country specifically. But the millennials, they were more receptive to having these conversations. So we needed
Right.
a visual identity that appealed to this specific demographic. And then, so we worked on that. We came up with a beautiful visual identity look. And she went straight to social media, incorporated a social media strategy. As we speak today, she's at 17,000 followers.
Oh,
She's even attracted people who really are like-minded and aligned with her business. So those
yes.
who really, she's demystifying conversation centered around, okay, there's one day you will not be there, and how do
Yes.
you ensure your family life your family's life
Too.
so that for me would be one of the
Wow.
success stories, and not to say that the others are not success stories, but yeah, top of my head, yes.
So, how do you approach tailoring branding strategies for clients across diverse industries while maintaining the essence of luxury?
For me, it's okay. So I've been honored again to work with to work with brands from very different industries, whether
Right.
it's hospitality, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's banking, finance, any industry I've worked with. So for
Okay.
me, really the blueprint for any strategy that I will any incorporating any strategy for any of these brands within these different industries is very standard. It's the same. For me, it's always to ensure that the four key things I spoke about: exclusivity, timelessness, legacy, and heritage are there. But
Right.
now for me, I have to go above and beyond and really understand, okay, who are the competitors in this industry? For example, if it's a travel agency, who are the competitors? And the
Right.
one thing that has greatly helped me get through is
Mm-hmm.
because, again, I'm in the business of helping brands stand out and be distinct. The one thing that I always do is I will always research. For example, if it's a travel agency, I will look at travel agencies in New York, travel agencies in Singapore, because there's a thing in Kenya, and I'm a proud Kenyan, but it's good we unpack what we don't like so that we can correct it.
Right.
Yes. So
Yes.
the one thing I find is a tendency in this country is a lot of copy paste. So
Okay.
get exactly. So you come up with an idea. The next lady is doing the same thing. There's no uniqueness. There's no distinctiveness. So for me, what has greatly helped is I always sort of study companies, whatever industry it is, outside of this country, and see, okay,
Mhm.
how can we sort of incorporate some of the things that they're doing, that have them as our competitors.
Yes.
I will look at competitors in this country and in this market, but also globally, so that when I'm
Okay.
helping these brands, they have that distinctiveness, that makes them stand out in this country. So that for
It
me
gives
is
edge.
exactly gives them an
Yeah.
edge, gives them a very global look. Because for me,
Yes.
you need to stand out outside of this country, outside of the borders of East Africa. Yes, that is, I preach that message.
Love it. Oh my gosh, this is music to my ears. I have so many questions for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about your coaching and training. What
Yes.
common challenges do you see entrepreneurs face when building their brands, and how do you guide them through those obstacles?
So other than even just helping brand founders with their strategy, I also do coach. I coach founders, and
Yes.
this stems from my background with a short time where I was lecturing students who were studying fashion and design. So for me,
Okay.
I told myself, okay, uh, how can I help these founders? So, and I incorporated now coaching as one of part of the services that I offer. Because for me, again, Gertrude, it's not just okay. Gertrude is a brand founder. It's important for you to own and hone your brand other
Yes.
than you um, looking to the expertise of a brand strategist. It needs to first come from, okay, as Gertrude, I understand my brand. I understand the intricacies of branding. So even now, that's where the coaching came up. And some of the common obstacles, and even just yesterday, I was having a conversation with an incredible brand founder, and the common things that I usually encounter, or the things that brand founders always share with me, that their challenge, the greatest challenge is the mental,
Right.
the just when I mean mental, I'm talking about just that lack of confidence, lack of knowing, okay, what I have is a great and brilliant idea, and it will change lives. Second guessing yourself,
Yeah.
imposter syndrome. So for me, I sort of this has happened more often than not, because when we're
Mm.
unpacking, okay, these are the common challenges I encounter with my brand. For example, if it's finances, for example, if it's my message is not coming out clearly to the audience, for example, social media, I'm not really getting the ROI from my social media platforms. Those they're strategies you can incorporate, written strategies, yeah,
Yeah.
tried and tested strategies. But the psyche is something that it's really a lot of inner work is needed. So for me, I always try and encourage entrepreneurs and brand founders, because I also encountered those second guessing myself, asking myself, who
Yeah.
do you think you are in the space of luxury and all these things. So even
Yeah.
with that, I thought to myself, okay, uh, let me come up with a program that caters to the wellness of entrepreneurs. I don't do it. I've partnered with a coach. She's called Coach
Okay.
Wangoi, who's a life coach who looks at the wellness of entrepreneurs. For me, it's important for your mental and your psyche to be great, for you to execute the vision to which you've been given by God. So yes, that I would say is how I navigate. The other written challenges, like the ones that we can actually sit down and adopt strategies, that one is very easy. But I find that if mentally you're sort of blocking yourself, yes, I try and help the entrepreneurs do a lot of inner work.
Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done inside. Definitely, I agree with you. There's a lot
Exactly,
of inner work that we need to do.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
so now let's end the interview with
Yes.
three more questions.
Okay.
How do you empower entrepreneurs who feel intimidated by the concept of building a luxury brand to enhance their vision and create an impactful legacy?
Mm. I love that question. I think it's even just falling off from the discussion that we just had. So for
Yes.
me, the one thing that I always because also I look at myself and my journey and my story and even how I ended up in Rome. It's not by, I mean, it took a lot of hey Yvonne, you're deserving. Hey Yvonne, you're here for a reason and a season. So
Yes.
when and that's why I always say, even before we have any strategy conversation, I will sit down the brand founder, the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, and tell them, hey, do you know you can do this? Hey, like,
Yeah.
you are deserving. Like, just breaking that sort of scarcity mindset that a lot of us in in this country and continent struggle with, and just
Yeah.
helping them see abundance is yours. You can build this luxury brand, because the founders of the likes of Valentino, Ferrari, and so forth, they also dared to dream. So for me, I just
Let's start
like
somewhere.
exactly starting somewhere. So
Yeah.
I just always tell them, you are capable. You can do this, because I'm sure you can relate. There are times, of course, starting out, you don't see the bigger picture, but you
Yes.
start from somewhere.
Now, my
Yeah.
last two questions are a bit of a thought experiment. In the
Okay.
first one, I'm going to teleport you into the past, and
Okay.
we are going to go and have a conversation with the younger you, the
Yes.
young woman who broached out into the world of fashion, decided to go to Rome to pursue her vision and her dream.
Yeah.
Just in case there's another young person who's listening to this podcast right now, if
Yes.
you could go back and give yourself three nuggets of wisdom
Mm,
based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those
yes.
three nuggets of wisdom be?
What I would tell a younger Ng'endo is, one, your vision was given to you for a reason, and it's only you, and it's only down to you to execute this vision. This vision was given to you. It wasn't a conference call. It was just you who was given this vision. The second thing I would tell a young Ng'endo is, believe in yourself. You are more capable than you could ever think of. You're capable of doing even what is deemed impossible. Count on yourself, bank on yourself. And even in saying that, don't be an island. Also, heavily lean on family and friends and a supportive system for you to execute that vision. The third thing I would tell a younger Ng'endo is, block out the noises. um, there's a lot of noise in this world. There's a lot of, oh, you can't do this. There's a lot of, who do you think you are? Just look to who called you to this season. Look to who gave you this vision. Look to God, because with Him, He will always provide for that vision He gave you. Those are the three things I would tell a younger Ng'endo.
Oh, I love it. Last question. I'm going to teleport you into the future this time.
Yeah.
And we are going to go and sit with the older you. And you're
Okay.
80 years old.
Yes.
I like to ask this question because a lot of women don't realize that that 80-year-old is already in us, that she's
Wow.
that quiet voice that says, take this opportunity, do it, go
Yes.
left, go right, say yes, say no. But we don't listen to her enough.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
if I could take you into the future to meet the older you,
Yes.
what will you say to this wise woman when you finally meet her?
Wow. That one truly. I think, like you said, a lot of us don't think of the older us is already with us. So the 80-year-old Ng'endo, what I would say is, look at look at how far you've come. Look at all that you have achieved, but also look at how beautifully your journey has been, the good, the bad, the difficult seasons, the triumphant seasons. Look at how all of it has come together for a moment where you can reflect and just be like, thank you, God. I think that's the one thing I would tell my older self, sitting in a chair in my ancestral home.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I these days I play with the essence of who I am becoming. So when I'm
Yes,
working on something, I go
yes,
into my meditation, my prayers every evening. And if I'm really stuck, I
yes.
go to sleep with one question in my head. And the question is, what is the next step?
Wow, wow.
Because you're born with all of the knowledge, all of the knowings that you need to create this abundance you're talking about.
Yes,
And we look outside of ourselves for answers, for solutions all the time. But it's in those quiet moments
yes,
when you ask yourself those questions. And what happens for me is I'll wake up
yeah,
in the morning and I'm in the shower and I
yes.
have what I call my light bulb moments where the solution is right there and it
Wow,
was always there.
wow.
Or I go through my day, I'm meeting different people and I talk about what I'm working on.
Yes.
And then one person will say one thing and the next person will say something. By the end of the day, it's like the pieces of the puzzle come together.
Come together. Yes.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I love to work in the energy of who I am becoming. So thank you for listening to your promptings. Thank you
Yes.
for following your vision and your dreams. And I'm really excited to have found you and to find
Oh,
ways that we can collaborate and work together in 2025.
I'm also so honored, Gertrude. I really thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for starting off by sharing your own story. And even just, I'm sure you mentor so many lovely young women. Yes, I am truly honored and so grateful. And yeah, thank you so
It's
much.
an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to help take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So, if you are somebody who's looking for personal branding, is looking for some support to put it all together to create that luxury brand that stands out, please reach out. This beautiful young woman is available on LinkedIn. That's how I found her. So please reach out. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Get somebody who is smarter than you who will help to get you there. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I'll be back again tomorrow with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep